Broker Tools, where we unpack the tools, systems, and strategies that help brokers optimize the way they work. I'm Katie, your host, and today we have Heather from Salestrekker. If you don't know Heather, she is the head of customer success at Salestrekker and works closely with mortgage, asset, and commercial brokers, helping them structure their deal flow, improve their visibility across applications, and reduce operational friction. As one of the most popular broker CRMs available in the market, I thought it would be great to catch up and learn more about their recent 2.0 updates and AI implementations. Heather, thank you. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It is so great. And I think, Salestrekker is very much a well-used tool. But before you started working with Salestrekker, you actually had a whole other career in life.
I did. That's true.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I've been in the finance industry for about 20 years, and I accidentally fell into it, which is a whole other story we don't have time for. But I most recently spent the last 6 years working for an aggregator and kind of developed into a role that we created, which was the head of training and education. I have a massive passion for helping brokers be better at writing loans, at helping consumers, but also being better business owners. Mm-hmm. I've won, Mentor of the Year and a few times. And I'm at that stage in my career and my life where leaving people's businesses and leaving the industry, if I'm more altruistic than that, leaving all of that in a better place than where I got there, that is my driving passion right now. And when the opportunity to come work with the Salestrekker team in late 2024 arose, it was an easy yes. The aggregator I worked for was already using Salestrekker. I was one of the first people who got access to 2.0 to play with it and test with it in the very beginning. And I could see where the vision was going and the ultimate kind of plan on giving brokers all the tools and resources in one place to be more efficient, to help more consumers, and ultimately run better businesses. It made it really easy.
Which is, I guess, the big yes, because as you know, from an aggregator management and growth development point of view, finding the right CRM for your business is half the problem.
Absolutely.
And so I guess when you have joined Salestrekker, what was the part that you loved the most about joining them?
I guess I felt like I got to take all those things that I loved about, coaching and strategy and all of that with brokers and businesses and take it to another level. We've got about 12 partners, right? And so instead of doing something in one place with 1,500 brokers, I've now got 6,000 users that we get feedback and listen to. And it was a newly created role as well. So Dalibor and I have kind of made this up as we've gone along. Mm-hmm. But the thing that was really exciting to me, I guess, about this opportunity is when I joined in November of 24, we were almost at the stage where we were going to start rolling this out to users. And so being involved really in the trenches of working with our partners and implementing development plans and strategies about how we're going to roll this out, which evolved into, I've actually got to do a lot of training, which is my happy place. I've spent the last, certainly since about April, lots of times a week, I don't want to go back and count the hours, running development sessions online, attending sessions with key broker groups, going to PD days and conferences and explaining and helping brokers. And that certainly, since we started our first migrations, because we've got 5 groups now only on 2.0, which is exciting. When we started our first migrations in December, that has just ramped up exponentially and kind of culminating in this week where we've actually started public sessions open to anybody, which are all about that post-migration playbook to really help brokers get into the system and use it and be effective. Because 2.0 is really different than 1.0. And anybody who thinks that they can just turn it off on 1.0 one day and walk in on 2.0 the next day and they're not going to struggle is lying to themselves.
Yeah. And I think like any transition, like whether you're growing your business as from day one as a early day broker to day 3, like I say day 3, but what I really meant like year 3 or year 5, there's always like these transitions and growth hurdles that you go through, especially with technology.
Absolutely. And I think people underestimated the differences between 1 and 2. And that has been, I think, for some people, a challenge. I mean, nobody likes change, right? But I think the sooner that users can kind of lean into it and prepare themselves, if they haven't already migrated, they will have a much more comfortable experience. And I'll tell this story because this was really telling. We had one of our partners migrate in early January, and I was doing a session with their brokers, kind of a post-migration Q&A. And there's about 40, 50 people online. And I started the session by saying, so how's everybody feeling 4 days after migration? And this one broker said to me, fine, same as last week. I said, so how did you feel last week? He said, I feel fine. And that's actually what you really want when you go through big technology change. I mean, it's great if they're singing your praises, and I love the new tools, and it's really exciting. But really, I think that's the reaction you want, is that I'm just able to move on with my business, and it's not really a big deal. He attended training, he learned the system, and it just wasn't a big deal. And that's where I would hope everybody can be.
Yeah. And not to interrupt, it's that part where that transition, nothing broke, like as in they operated one way, they transitioned over, and sure, sometimes in that transition things break, it happens, but the being fine, like nothing truly broke, it was business as normal, is a true gift.
And that's where I really hope, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk to you, is because I think for so many brokers and their admin staff, and let's not forget them in this conversation, because for so many of these businesses, particularly the more complex ones, the people in the CRMs are not, they're in there for 5 minutes. It's their teams and their people. And I think for all of the users of the technology to be a little kind to themselves, take the time to learn it, and give themselves a break if they can't figure something out, and know that this too shall pass, and in a few months' time you'll become an expert and you won't even think about it again.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, whether you've read those books like Tiny Habits or Atomic Habits.
Yes.
It's just knowing when that thing ticks over to the next thing, because once you've got your trigger sequence in place, this is where streamlining occurs.
It is, and it's that thing we do with our hands, that subconscious thing we do where we know where to tab, we know where to click, we know where to mouse, and we don't think about it. We can have a conversation and do it. And if you're somebody who can do that over the phone with a client and do your fact find and do all that without having to think about where your fingers are and what goes next, and then you've got a system where the boxes are different and the clicks are different, it can totally slow you down. So the number one kind of efficiency thing I think people need to do is just understand the differences.
Yeah. Did you want to go through and show us a couple of the things that are happening within Salestrekker?
There are a couple of really cool, and I nerd out on little like validation and verification and processing efficiency. So I would love to share a couple of things with you that, if brokers are using their system effectively, can save them lots of time. I'll just show you two, if you don't mind. One's a little bit
go for it.
long.
We can nerd out together.
All right. So one of the things that I am super excited about for users, that if they take the time to set their system up correctly, you can create a deal really quickly, and I can add a team member to my deal. I can add the required documents to the deal. I can easily generate my credit guide and privacy without thinking about it, and then I'm ready to send to my client portal. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm not going to explain how I'm doing this. Let's just add Jack.
And Jack Black. He's so funny.
I wasn't even thinking about that when I did it, but why not? Make sure my address is right. All I've done now is just create a simple deal. I haven't added any information to this deal, right? Nothing. I haven't done anything else. A few clicks.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I'm the most impatient about is I need to wait the background to do its things, which will take just a few seconds. I'm going to refresh my screen because I'm impatient. But when I come back here in a second and look at this deal, actually, let's look at the required documents first. You can see it automatically added required documents to my deal. You can see this will take a second longer to generate. It's going to add a credit guide and privacy to the deal, and I may not have the right one loaded in there. Let me go back to my automation in a minute. The other thing it's done for me here, it's added Dally to my deal.
Okay.
You can see all of this. You can do all of this so quickly, and then immediately after that, you can send the client portal. It takes you seconds to do all of that, not minutes. You don't have to do any of it manually, and some people will do those things step by step. It's about learn the basics, learn how to do a deal first, but then learn what your system can do. And I'll use this as an illustration as well. So if you are doing the validations and verifications on a deal, for example, and let's just use this. If you're uploading your documents with the appropriate label, your ID docs, your pay slips, I can be in here right now and I could be looking at the identification for my client. If I'm in this deal right now, I can't see any of it, right? I can't see that any of that's done. But if I upload a file to my deal, let's just upload a Medicare card to this deal. If I'm doing it the right way with a label of identity docs, and while I'm waiting for that to load, I'm actually going to also upload, just for fun for us all, a payslip. Because I'm going to illustrate to you two places that you can see this. With the payslips, you need to have an income doc. And you can do this with bank statements and all of this. What you actually see now is when I'm coming down here and I'm validating my, my Medicare card and my passport and everything and how many kids they have. They said they're married with one kid. I can immediately open this Medicare card. The first thing I see is there's 4 people on the Medicare card. This person's married with one dependent. I'd immediately be able to have questions, right?
Yeah.
The other place this is really great is in the income. These are those micro-efficiencies of time. I can open this pay slip and I can compare and validate my client's income. When they inevitably have uploaded the wrong one, I've got all my quick actions here. This is a change from version 1. All these things used to be on the home screen of your deal, so you'd have to go back. But I can add a task right here.
Oh, good.
Like I can just do it 15 first. I can decide when I want it due, and I can decide how important it is even.
Nice.
And I can assign it to somebody else. Good old Vlad's going to get this one. And I'm done. I don't have to leave my screen. I don't have to do any of that. And so there's all these micro time efficiencies that if you really learn and embrace the system can really help you. When we talk to brokers, I'll stop sharing for now. When we talk to brokers who were using the system effectively, they're saying that they can process a loan application at least 30% faster than version 1.
Nice. And in what you were just demonstrating, ultimately is what inside the industry we call OCR. So ultimately, you were uploaded a document and it scanned the document for the key pieces of information. And instead of having to do double data entry, it's actually extracted that and put it into the right fields for you.
So not yet. So what all that is, that's coming. OCR is absolutely coming Q2, I believe. But what it's doing now is allowing you to validate the actual document to what the client said entered in the portal. OCR is coming. So this is just for validation, all those things you have to do when you have to validate and verify the information when you're processing a loan application. There's all these micro places where you don't, I don't need 2 screens to do this. I don't need to drag something from a cloud or open it up somewhere else. Everything is right in front of my face, which I really love. Mid last year, I actually broke my foot and I was confined to a chair with just my laptop screen. And that allowed me to realize if you use the system right, you don't need a bunch of devices. You need one screen and you can do everything in one place. Which is really, really helpful.
Much more efficient. And so what you're saying in that is that if we think about it as a sequence of events, a client actually has manually filled in the custom fields with the payslip details, and then they've uploaded a document. And then as an admin person, you're going in to say, hey, let's just quickly match and make sure that the document matches what the client has actually entered in. And right now, it's not OCR, but soon it's actually going to be more efficient because that's going to come in in the near future.
Absolutely. And we've thought a lot about what are the pain points for brokers? What are the things that take them a lot of time? And we've talked to a lot of brokers. We're lucky. We've got over 6,000 users.
Yeah.
And there are two places in a deal that take up a lot of brokers' time. The first one is writing really good quality compliance comments, which they're obligated to do to meet their license clauses and their bid obligations and NCCP and all of that. And we know that takes a long time for brokers. Some of them template things, and that's great, but is it really customized enough for your deal? That's the first place, right? That's at the end of the process. But the other place that takes brokers so much time is, where's this deal going to fit? It's the policy research. It's understanding the nuances of the lenders. And look, I'm an ex-bank BDM for a major bank and a smaller bank, and I would get hundreds of emails a day from brokers that were clearly, sending the email to 10 BDMs. Would you do this deal? Here's some information. Does this fit your policy, right?
Yeah.
Brokers email a lot of people, and they have to wait for an answer. Brokers will ring BDMs and hope they get a phone call back, or they spend hours doing research online on lender web pages trying to figure it out. So we've thought a lot about this, and we've actually solved for both of those functions. We've got a compliance AI tool, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And as has been in the press all this week, we've also now partnered with Scenario for policy AI. Scenario has a dynamite tool, and we've actually integrated it into Salestrekker, so they don't have to leave the system. Do you want me to show you those few things? Do you want to see them?
Yeah, let's do that.
That'll be great. Compliance AI, because it is one of my favorite things
to load out on.
I love compliance AI. So let me just get rid of that payslip. So this has already done my compliance comments. I will leave a few of the boxes here because I just want to illustrate 3 things for you because the power of this. So the way this works in Salestrekker is that we have our compliance comment section designed here with these questions to assist brokers to meet their bid obligations. Like if you look at the way this one is worded here, it is talking about, your decision-making process, why the product recommendation is in their best interest, talk about the other products. I won't go into all the details of what we do and how we do this. That's a longer conversation.
That's okay.
But we have designed this so that if I click here on Compliance AI, it's going to give them a warning. We all know that AI is amazing. We know AI can make mistakes. Yes. So the broker is responsible for the content. Have a look at this. It gives us the options presented, the total cost, the breakdown, and then it gives you why it meets the primary objectives of the client. And it's pulling this from certain fields within the deal. Look at how much detail is in that note. It's extraordinary, actually.
Yeah.
And the next one I'll show you here is, let's do this one as well. So this is about demonstrating your analysis, a good analysis of the consumer's overall position and any other commentary you want. A broker's supposed to read this, review it, say, yep, I made some changes, I made a little tweaks, and now I will import it. It gives a full background, assessment of serviceability, talks about their requirements, education, and any compliance requirements and things to think about as well. And here's the one I really like. In this deal that I've put together that you haven't seen that screen, there is in the risks category, it asks about their credit history. And Bella on this deal has said that she had got a new credit card and set the direct debit up for the wrong day and was late for 4 months. Right, there's a big explanation in there. Watch what happens when I do this. It will reference that. It's pulling information from specific fields. Oh, it was Jack, not Bella. Sorry, Bella was fine.
Yeah.
It pulls the information in.
Nice.
Now, let me just show you the final outcome of what this looks like. When you're looking at the number of words for compliance, when we look at users in version 1, 400 or 500 words is probably the average in all of those boxes. Check that out. 2,303. You still have to review it. The broker's ultimately responsible for it, but really good compliance notes. And all of our partners' compliance teams are very excited about this tool.
Yeah.
So that's the one problem we've solved for. Let me show you the second problem. To illustrate this, I might actually come to my compare products screen. So I have got a deal here and I have these lenders that I'm recommending for the client, but I want to understand a little bit more about how they look at, say, allowances. How are they really going to assess those allowances? This is where our policy AI, our latest new tool, comes in. It lives here in your library, and I could be right on this screen. So I might come in here and say, compare income policies around allowances between Macquarie, let's just say Macquarie and NAB. And you don't have to spell perfectly either. So this does take a few seconds to think.
Yes.
And it will give me a really good piece of information. I've asked it all kinds of questions. I've asked it to compare different lenders. I've asked it what it does. See, look at this.
Nice. It's a good summary.
And if I want to keep a record of this, I can just copy this out of this. I can come to my quick actions, go straight to my note and just say policy notes, cut and paste that all in there. And I've got a record in my deal of what I researched. I haven't had to leave my system.
Nice.
Those two tools alone are going to save brokers so much time.
Yes. And I guess this is the key thing of what you're trying to offer through using Salestrekker is what I have always called context switching. Like as in when you are changing modes, it's a cognitive brain thinking system that you have to go, oh, I'm switching to because I have to do this. You're actually easing the friction in that process in that, you know, compliance, obviously you need to do it, coming up with the right words so that it doesn't look like a template that has popped out. It's a bit hard sometimes, especially when you're processing as many loans as you do. The first part that you're talking through, the compliance side, that AI just really streamlines it. It's just pulling data from what you've already put in, populating the fields, putting it through an AI conversational tweak. But of course, you have to be the human in the loop and check.
Always.
Always. And then pretty much compliance is done and dusted for you because you, one, have read, but the time difference is that it just has reduced so much time.
I was talking to a broker when we first brought this out in Compliance AI in November of last year. And he said to me, Heather, you just saved me $60,000 a year. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, my team is getting at capacity and I was about ready to hire another processing person. And I honestly think now if my team embraces the tool and we just need to spend the time reviewing it and editing it rather than coming up with it or thinking of it or templating it, he said, I think I don't have to hire another person right now.
Yeah, and that's the gift, I guess, of what I call also a structured AI because it's inside Salestrekker. I'm sure it's not that you can't use guardrails in other systems, but guardrails don't always protect you. Do you know what I mean? And it really doesn't always protect client information. And we've heard enough stories out there of how guardrails get taken over. And so not that we're going to go down an AI full funnel here of nerding out together, but because of Salestrekker being an in-house system, it is harder for bad agents to come in and bad AI agents to take over that information.
And just on that, when you're talking about this, and I think this is something that is important to discuss, is that we don't let our AI engine scan your deal. We are saying for this particular box, look at this field, look at this field, look at this field. We don't allow it access to any personally identifiable information. It's looking at your first name, what your occupation is. It's not looking at your middle name and your last name and your date of birth and your driver's license. It's not looking at any of that stuff, right? We are completely leaning into the efficiencies that AI can help a broker with, but keeping our skepticism that it can be wrong sometimes, and also a healthy level of caution. Because one of the things that worries me about AI tools out there right now for brokers is I've heard stories about, brokers putting their whole trail book into AI to analyze it, or putting a fact find in to do my notes, and or clients' financials. And you really have to be careful about that. And I guess part of the reasons we built it the way we have is so that brokers don't feel the need to do that and risk customers' information getting into the wrong hands.
Yes. And just one of the last podcasts I recently did with Simone Blakely, we were talking about AI chatbots in total. And then after we did the pod, we actually discussed more. Like there's AI agents. It's more being programmed around like the bad behaviors of a human or good behaviors. It didn't appreciate being called a bot. Like this is the nastiness of this AI agent. So it released the credit card details of the person who called it a bot.
Oh dear.
And so this is where, like, as in AI is being taught to do good things, but it's also being taught how to do the awful stuff. And so your data and your clients' data in this industry is in particular the most sacred part.
And we have a lot of other tools coming. We've also just released Translate AI, where you can, if you're a broker whose English is not your strongest language, or you've got a client who English is not their strongest language, you can, like, say, type in English, translate it to Mandarin for them, or you can type in, Serbian and translate it to English for you or whatever. And it's one of those tools to ensure that brokers and consumers can speak to each other well, and ultimately ensure that the consumer understands the transaction. Explaining something like what fixed rate lock-in means, and if you don't take it to a consumer, you need to be sure they understand you.
Yeah,
Ticking a box. And so this is one of our other tools as well, which is just amazing, and that's available to brokers now as well. We've got a bit of a roadmap. I'll give you a little sneak, tell you about one of our exciting tools, and our aggregator partners are exciting about this. We are working on right now Audit AI. So and this is a tool for aggregators more than brokers, but it's built in the system. We know, and look, I've worked at aggregators before, that auditing files is very past tense. People get paid their settlements, and then you pick some files and you audit once or twice a year. And it doesn't allow you to provide real-time coaching and pick up anything before it happens. We're building an Audit AI tool that the second the brokers lodge to the to AOL or Sympology, it will do an audit of a particular list of things in a deal and provide a report to the aggregator. They'll be able to identify trends, behaviors, coaching opportunities, and provide real value to their brokers' businesses. So if people are accidentally doing the wrong thing, they're going to get the help to fix that before it becomes a problem.
perfect.
I'm so excited about that one.
Yeah, because I remember with one of my other previous clients, I did what I call preventative measures up front, like as in, if you already know that you're going to be audited at the end like this, just build it into your practice of operations by doing all the right things up the front, so that by the end of the settlement, you're not even thinking about your audit because everything's already in place.
Exactly.
But if you're not one of those kinds of proactive brokers, then this particular tool will help make sure that they pick it up right, like as soon as possible, so you can fix it. Because if you do get audited like 3 or 4 years later, it's really hard to remember.
Oh yeah. And I just love the way that the notes is available on every screen. Anywhere you are, you can go, oh, I need to write that down, or you can add a task from anywhere. You don't have to stop what you're doing to do it. I think that will encourage people to take more notes and write more notes, because it's not disrupting your process to do that.
No, and ultimately, it's hopefully quick and easy. I say quick and easy, but it's almost like a thought pops in your head. You do the task, it's done and dusted.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much more that brokers can do. I mean, I showed you a quick little easy automation, but you can set up some really sophisticated things in the system. It's really got powerful automations, and you can template so many things. You can template your tasks and your required documents, and you can template your external notifications to the customers. And one of the things we have coming in the next week or so is the ability to even make the process of creating those faster, where you'll be able to just copy ones. If you've got the perfect external notification email that you want to send to the client, you've got it set up perfectly, in your templates, you'll be able to just go copy that one and then use it as the framework for the other ones. And so you can create 10, 20 email templates for a variety of situations really quick. Mm-hmm. So encourage people to actually do it and use the functionality.
Which is, I guess, the awesome part of partnering with you as a service to manage your CRM. If people wanted to have a further demonstration or understand a little bit more about Salestrekker, what should they do? Where should they go?
So if they go to our website, which is salestrekker.com, and I actually might, let me just share something with you. So that I know a lot of people are visual. Mm-hmm. It is helpful for them to know where and what to do. If you want to get an understanding, salestrekker.com, you can absolutely contact us here. But I want to highlight one thing here for you. When you click on the news, you'll find out lots of information. And we've got this brand new article that we actually just wrote this week. We used to have one that was 12 productivity tools, and now we have kind of 20 plus productivity tools for your business that are in 2.0 to assist you. There's so much in here, and I encourage people who are interested. If you're already a user of the system, regardless which of our partners you're with, there's some really good practical advice for you in here. The other thing that I would encourage people to do is to follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We post all of our information, or follow me or follow Dalibor. All three of us kind of post the same thing. But following us on social media, you'll find out everything we're up to. You'll find out about our release notes when we do enhancements and improvements. You'll find out about the events. Right now, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I'm running these post-migration playbook sessions, an hour-long session where people can come and learn all the things they need to know. In the next couple weeks, I'll be adding to those series, and we'll be doing a thing on complex deals. So how do you structure an SMSF deal, and how do you structure a company deal, making it easy? And then I may be doing productivity sessions. Clearly, that's my happy place. Yeah. And that's what my background is. And so that's why I'm here. So there'll be a lot more public education going on for everybody. But going to our website is the first place to start.
Perfect. And of course, as always, we'll put the links below so it's easy to navigate and everybody can find the way to you. Thank you so much for joining the pod, Heather. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on doing this. I am going to be an avid fan. I'm just sure of it.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it all. And at the end of the day, for those of you who are listening to this, this is all about you. So if you want to hear more from Heather and have us do another pod, let us know. We will happily nerd out together, honestly.
Absolutely. I'd love it. It'd be great.
All right. Thank you so much again, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.